when I was in college, we went for chai, and there were a bunch of 5 people who were great friends, right? And they were also having chai and vada pav and all of that. And they were in their shorts and just enjoying their cup of tea. And suddenly I don't see them, like after 10, 15 minutes. And then they are not there in the classroom as well the next day. And then I find out that they decided to go to Goa right from that shop. And that's, so that is the kind of ambition I had when going to beach vacations, that I decide now and I go and then think about how I will live, where will I live. On the contrary, when I went to Andaman, there were 6 suitcases and 5 bags, 2 human beings more than 70 years, 2 human beings less than 10 years, two adults trying to guess what they have to do, what is their age, what are they thinking, and somehow going through airport security, losing one of the kids in between or one of the suitcases in between. But yes, we somehow reached Andaman, juggling through 124 kgs of luggage.
Praloy is not shifting bag and baggage to Andaman, by the way. This was just him going on a vacation with his family to Andaman. Hi and welcome to the 3rd episode of Misadventures of a Sneaker. I'm Godly, and with me I have my co-host Revati.
Hi!
Now, in case you didn't know it already, because Revati keeps mentioning it all the time, so Revati, we all know that you are a water girl, right? Or a water baby, like you call yourself.
100%.
So I'm sure that you're thrilled about this episode, right?
Who heart thrilled? बहुत excited हूँ मैं.
Okay, since we would be going to Andamans, I have a very super wacky question for you.
Wow! पूछो.
Like, imagine you have to be on a deserted island where I drop you, but you don't come out until I permit you, okay? It could be a few days, few weeks, or maybe some months, or maybe some years, I don't know. But if you had to be there, right? And I'll only let you carry 3 things that you definitely want for your survival. It could be things, it could be even people.
Oh.
But basically, only 3 options I'm giving you. So think about it and tell me what would be those 3 things.
अरे बाप रे, I'm such a social person. मैं मर जाऊंगी. Even if I take one person, उतना, that also is less for me, यार. Okay, definitely one will be a satellite phone. I will somehow manage to solar power, charge it or whatever it is. So that's one. Oh, maybe I'll take one pilot and one one helicopter or something.
Superb. Yeah, I am clapping for you. Okay.
So one satellite phone, maybe a good looking pilot. So
Oh, God.
done. Okay. Oh, I'm happy with my answer as well. Finally.
All right. What kind of reels would this satellite phone of yours have there?
Undoubtedly, kaho na pyar hai, kaho na pyar hai. Maybe with that pilot only, you know.
So I'm assuming. Oh my
God, yaar, or have a huge fan.
Like, that's
Yeah,
what you're
my
doing in
reels.
Andamans.
Yeah, my satellite phone will be sending me many reels of kaho na pyar hai.
Oh,
Yes. Godly, I have a question for you. Can I ask you something?
Okay.
Yeah. So picture this: when you're organizing a beach-themed party.
Now, party and mera dur tak koi taluk
Not
nahi
just party, but also beach-themed
Beach
party. What would be the costumes that you would ask your guests to wear in that party?
Oh, that's interesting and very, very easy. I'd ask everyone to cosplay as anime characters. Oh my God, that would be interesting. I would not mind that party.
Just the introduction to the question put you off with the party point, but otherwise it wasn't that tough.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. This was a really mazedar conversation. And I think now we're all ready to have Praloy back. So Praloy, hi, welcome to our podcast, Misadventures of a Sneaker.
Good morning. I am extremely excited. Today is a Friday. Looking forward to the weekend and something different to do for this podcast.
How cute.
Mhm.
So Praloy मेरा friend from school days है. So we like go back. कितने साल हो गए? 25 के आसपास हो गए क्या?
Yeah, close to 25 years. Sometimes it feels unbelievable, but I am only 25, so I don't know. Together.
Dude, I always say that I'm 22. Shit, I shouldn't have said 23 years. I always say I'm 22. Okay, we are पिछले जन्म से friends हैं हम लोग. पिछले जन्म. Even better. So we are friends from school, and हमारा earliest trip I think from school was we went to Murshidabad, which was like it was a school trip, and we went together, all of us. We had like so much fun. By the way, Godly, have you ever been to Murshidabad?
Oh yeah, I remember. I've been there during my college days. It's a gorgeous historical city. I think it was Murshidabad was the capital of Bengal region during Mughal rule. And there's this, okay, my favorite has to be that Hazardwari Palace, which has 900 real doors. And there are a few other doors as well to create an illusion of even more doors.
So Murshidabad, the whole trip that we had from school was also like really special, like the guide telling us all the stories and all that, na?
Yeah, Murshidabad was great fun. It has its own memories, and we really enjoyed a lot. Given those were fun school days.
It really was, man. So that was like one of our first trips together. And उसके बाद तो चलो हम लोग बहुत घूमे साथ में and things like that. So we have released a couple of podcast episodes before this as well, and I invariably have the tendency to introduce my friend as, oh, ये मेरा best friend है, oh, वो मेरा amazing friend है. But Praloy and me, we are a part of this WhatsApp group called Bhishon Bashed Friends. I'm just telling you, Bhishon means like बहुत ज़्यादा, like who are best friends. Like best friends अलग है.
Just a little backstory on that, on the participants of that group. So there are 5 of us, and Revati had just come into Bangalore to study after our class 12th. So all of us one day decided that let's go to Bangalore to meet her. So that was way back in 2003 and in peak summers. And we decided to take the sleeper class train in 45 degrees Celsius passing through Orissa and Andhra. So, but memorable trip. Once we hit Bangalore, we really couldn't believe that a weather like this existed in India. Plains, in that too in summers, right? So that was way back in 2003. We roamed around, went to Mysore and all of that. And the same group now, we met again exactly after 20 years. And it's also, we again, 4 of us went to a place to meet the 5th person. So it's more of a reunion post 20 years, and we had equal amount of fun with a little extra gray hair and extra kgs. But yeah.
I'm okay with the gray hair. वो kgs का part में शायद काट दूंगी, हाँ, Pralay. It was really nice, you know, all of us same, bhai bakar.
So what our spouses tell us, right, that we have been time warped. So we couldn't grow beyond 2005 or 6, I think, and then all there are no further memories after that. And the intellectual quality or level of the discussions we have is far below our age and current level in the corporate.
Yeah, very, very correct. ऐसे चिंदी बातें करते हैं ना, it's just too much.
Since I know Revati, I can actually assume what might happen when she meets her friends. All right, Praloy. So all our guests come with their favorite vacation stories or experiences that they had, and you have chosen Andaman as your favorite travel story. Since I've been to Andaman, I'm actually thrilled to talk about it again, and I'm sure wahan pe Revati is getting even more excited than me because she's the water baby here. So welcome.
Great. I look forward to my performance, which will make it a season finale equivalent kind of performance.
Oh, like, oh my God, अपने पे तुम expectation उठा रहे हो कि मैंने करनी है तुम पे कुछ आंसू करना है.
Yes.
But before that, just tell us something about yourself. What kind of a person are you?
Okay, so haven't really practiced this. Tell me about yourself since my last interview, but yes, I will try. And yes, I'm very excited about talking about any kind of travel, because I sincerely believe that money spent over experiences is far better than objects, and it gives you far better joy or memories which you cherish rather than material things. So and of course it has been a realization as we have grown up and seen different places, and when you are studying or growing up, you have limited avenues of going out or the number of places you have access to. But I think right now, with things opening up after COVID and my kids growing up a little bit to bear the travel pressure, I think we have started to travel extensively. So, and I'm proud to share that in a span of 4 months, I touched the northern tip and the southern tip of India. So in December, we went to Kashmir, and in May, we went to Andaman. So pretty much the topmost and the bottommost latitude of India.
Hey, I
So
want to add, you also went to East India, you went to Kolkata and Durgapur, and you went to West India, you went to Mumbai, Gujarat, all in the span of 4 to 5 months. So just to make you feel a little better, that is, it's more than what you had thought.
Yeah. And as a person, I think I'm extremely social, and this entire COVID thing was really a tragedy for me in terms of how I want to lead my life. But yes, good things come back again. So yes, meeting friends, and if that means traveling to a different city or carving out time from office, I think that gives me the maximum amount of joy. I can talk to pretty much, and that's what my in-laws tell me, that I can talk to pretty much anyone of any age group, any gender, or any interest area, and make him or her comfortable. That's my claim. I don't know whether the other person is comfortable, but yes, at least I enjoy myself. So yes, a little. That's a little bit about myself.
My God, Praloy, मेरा भी भीषण best friend है, मेरे mom का भी है, मेरे dad का भी है, दुनिया भर का है. He can actually talk to anyone and everyone. Praloy, that is a very thorough wala intro to मैंने जो दिया. Very cute.
Okay, so by now I know 3 things about Praloy for sure. Number 1, that he is Revati's Bishon best friend. Number 2, he loves traveling and has touched the north, south, east, west tips of India in a span of 6 months. And he is an extrovert who can pretty much talk to anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to jump into any stereotype, but I'm also Bengali, and I assume you are one too. So are you also one of those Bengalis who are in some form of art, like it could be writing, painting, music, dancing, kuch bhi?
Please spare him from dancing and spare all of us also, okay?
Yep. So I think I have loved writing always, and it has come in different shape and form as we all grow up, right? And I can write pretty much on any topic, not artificial intelligence and chat GPT, of course, but pretty much any topic related to life, nature, experiences. I have been good at it. So just to give you a little bit of a example of where do I stand on that. So there were multiple fashion shows that were conducted in my college, and I used to be that voice behind those fashion shows. That goes a long so that goes a long way, right? So that's something that I've always loved and done. Not that I get a lot of time to speak these days apart from Teams calls, but yes, I have done a speech or here and there. So that's one. And in terms of books, I like fiction in a sense where the literature is a little heavy, not the Chetan Bhagat kinds, but a little more dense and intense in literature, like All the Light We Cannot See and A Gentleman in Moscow. I think these are my top 2 books.
Tell me something about your favorite TV series or movies and all of that. Some of those. So are you going to say Breaking Bad and throw some of the dialogues from there?
Yes, Breaking Bad is like cult. I think I remember there was a cake brought in for me with Walter White.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I am not in danger. I am the danger.
I am the danger. What a dialogue.
So,
Absolutely. Breaking Bad is legendary. My goodness.
and travel, yes. So just to give a very small example of how I have always fancied about beach vacations is the kind of examples you see in front with your friends, right? So when I was in college, we went for chai, and there were a bunch of 5 people who were great friends, right? And they were also having chai and vada pav and all of that, and they were in their shorts and just enjoying their cup of tea. And suddenly I don't see them, like after 10-15 minutes, and then they are not there in the classroom as well the next day. And then I find out that they decided to go to Goa right from that shop. And yeah, and that is the kind of ambition I had when going to beach vacations, that I decide now and I go, and then think about how I will live, where will I live, right? And in the age of UPI, I don't even need to carry anything, right? So on the contrary, when I went to Andaman, there were 6 suitcases and 5 bags, 2 human beings more than 70 years, 2 human beings less than 10 years, and 2 adults trying
22 years, reminding you, 22 years, or 25,
yeah,
25.
two adults trying to guess what they have to do, what is their age, what are they thinking, and somehow going through airport security, losing one of the kids in between, or one of the suitcases in between. But yes, we somehow reached Andaman, juggling through 124 kgs of luggage, and the airlines company do not know that. We pack really well. I mean, we pack, even if, let's say, Andaman was taken over by the Chinese, right, and we can still survive. So
My God.
so Godly, I digress.
Where it was going.
So I digressed from the introduction. Maybe, I mean, that's the initial part was what you wanted to know, and the last is when it would connect to the Andaman part.
Yes, and I also kept a note of the books that I'm going to read next.
I thought so. So Godly wants to make a list of books. इसीलिए ज़्यादातर ये सवाल उसके लिए पूछती है कि वो अपना list बना ले. Awesome. Okay, Praloy, now tell us about Andaman. How did you come around choosing which destination you want to go next? So like you said, you'd been to the northernmost part in December. So how did it come around to choosing Andaman?
Yeah, so we really wanted to go somewhere around along with our parents. And mountains are a no-go for our kids, because if there's no snow, there's hardly anything that they would enjoy, right? So so it's clearly in the pecking order. What we like comes pretty much at the last. So elderly friendly and a kid friendly and a temperature friendly. Even Google would say no results to display, right? So
you have come to the end of your search.
So that is where, but then this aspirational talk about this American vacations came to my mind, right? Where would the really rich and fancy Americans go when they save money? I think they go to Hawaii, and Hawaii. I think Andaman is a really equivalent of an Hawaii.
Yeah. With respect to Andamans, I totally agree.
So we've never stayed in an island, right? So I think island experience is very, very nice, and then the most important thing, right, which turned it in our favor is we've never seen white sandy beaches in our lives. Like we haven't been to Maldives. We've just seen pictures of Maldives of rich people. It always fascinated me that how can beaches be white? Because growing up, you've always seen muddy beaches, right? And with a packet of Lays here and there. This was one, and where we heard so much about that Asia's best beach is Radhanagar beach. And I thought that it might be a tampered rating, but only we had to see it to believe it, right? So that's where all of these things, and there are multiple flights, so direct flights, so it was also easy for us to get there as well, right? So we did a 4 nights, 5 days vacation. But what transpired was there is a small period of time in which the airport is closed, the runway is closed in Port Blair. So our tickets got cancelled, saying that there's no flight on that day because the runway is closed. So you can either bring it forward right? So we
Right.
brought it forward by 2 days. So without any extra expense, our trip got extended to 6 nights, and it was worth it, totally worth it, because there's so many things to cover, right? So, and in terms of planning, I think my wife did all the planning with the travel agency and which hotel and this and that. And even our parents should be comfortable and kids should enjoy was of course, because the definition of peace is hinged on the fact that the first two criteria is met, and then only you get your peace. I mean, it's not exactly a martini with your legs up in the air. So there's a lot of logistics that need to go right before you can actually get some peace on the beach. And because even in Kashmir, I remember we were staying in a hotel, and there's a mountainous river, extremely beautiful, and this absolutely white mountains in December just behind that river. And we have a huge glass window. We could see that, and it's sunrise from there. So it's a beautiful view. So we got up at 6:30 in the morning. We thought that we'll have our tea in peace, but both the monkeys are up at 6:30 and disturbed everything that we had.
Cut up plan.
So yes, so it's a lot of fun with more people around, but it's a lot of logistics as well. So but logistics was planned, and that's how we started the trip.
How beautiful. Poor things, you're calling them monkeys. Yeah, they're really cute kiddos, man. What monkeys to hai waise? What a cute bhi hai. Very nice, very nice. Oh my God. So when you say that your thing extended by 2 more days, how did you all get accommodation in short notice, or was it short notice?
No, so I think accommodation wasn't a problem. So this particular island called Havelock Island, right? That's the most beautiful island. And that's where there are multiple resorts on the eastern side of the island. And this very interesting part about Havelock is almost 85% of that island is covered with lush green forest. You really can't go in there, and only small parts of the island have been converted into resorts and places where you can go for all the activities. And what happened is, after this, I think interesting trivia is, after this 1971 war, a lot of those refugees from Bangladesh, where we had to settle them. So a big part of them were settled in these, were made to settle in these two islands, Havelock and Neil Island. So when someone tells you there's a lot of Bengali folks there and you can easily survive with Bengali in Andaman, this is mostly the reason. I mean, in those two islands, I mean, Port Blair, of course, is a historical place, but all of these islands started to get inhabited from that time. But environmentally, I think they have maintained it fantastic. They haven't damaged the jungles as much. They have carved out a small part on the right hand side of the island for all their resorts and local stay, and on the left hand side, on the northwest part of the island, is where you can only go in the morning and come back in the afternoon or evening with sunlight on, and you cannot cook there. So when you go to that place for all your activities, you only get fruits and nothing, coconut water and fruits. And there was a fine on the coconut seller that if one dumps the coconut shell right anywhere, the shop is charged. So they are taking extra care to keep it clean. But this is on the second day of Havelock. We have to go to the main ferry station, and then from there you book all the activities, right? And there were so many activities to choose from. Then you basically give like a deposit, and then that's like a prepaid card, and then you can and you can choose from there. And we were taken in a ferry. So it takes goes all along the northern coast of the island, from the northeast to the northwest. And it's a beautiful ferry because the water is deep blue, very calm, and you can see the islands on either side. And when you reach there, right, there is no permanent establishment, right? There are no buildings, or there are no huts or anything. It's just plain thatched roofs, changing rooms, fruit sellers, coconut sellers, and all the snorkeling stuff people, right? So and absolutely white sand beach, right? And snorkeling it is so convenient that people, even who do not know how to swim or are scared of water, they take them to the bay about where there's about 10 meters of depth, almost 10 meters. And and you float, and they get you floaters, and the snorkeling pipe is essentially above the water, so you can breathe properly. And all of us went, and the fun part was, of course, there's a mask on top of your face, but you just can't see. There's so many fishes just attacking your face, and those colorful ones, right? I mean, blue, bluish and yellowish stripes, and all of those, and hundreds of fishes, hundreds. I mean, literally hundreds. So that's amazing. You just you have that ZNMD effect. That's So that so ZNMD is my all-time favorite movie. I've seen it some 100 times, just to go back on on that. And I didn't cry, of course, after coming out.
Cry bol dete hai.
Because I didn't earn like a London broker, so anyway, so it's so beautiful. And then the corals are between 3 meters to 10 meters, and you just look down, and the water is so clear that you can see those corals, and live corals versus National Geographic corals, it's a hell lot of a difference, I can tell you that. And there's this interesting trivia about corals, right? They are made out of animal cells as well as plant cells, right? They are the earliest form of life, right? And they are at the bottom of the food chain. I mean, the entire world depends on them. So not many people know that corals are so important for us. So, and all those are violet in color, yellow in color, and beautiful carvings, as if someone has actually chiseled them into look like that, right? There are flat corals, spherical corals, right? Flower-shaped corals. But yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful. And once you manage to look really down and avoid the fishes, because they just all around you, and those are not big black fishes, right? Those are all colorful and beautiful small fishes all around you, right? And so the snorkeling was the highlight of our trip. All three of us went. My elder kid and my wife and I went. So it's really, really good. I think snorkeling was there. But yeah, I mean, apart from snorkeling,
I love the description. So pretty, so colorful. Like, you mean like all kuti ones like Nemos and all that?
Yes, and so bright colors. But there is this such a nice thing there, that for the elderly people and really small kids who really can't go snorkeling, for them there is a glass bottom yacht ride. So you get on board and you sit in the bottom part of the yacht, and the base is actually made out of glass, transparent glass. So they take you to about 200-300 meters away from the mainland, and they just stop the boat, right? Stop the yacht, and you can see the corals so clearly, and those corals are even more beautiful than the ones that you can go actually for through snorkeling, right? Because there's so many of them, and that's an interesting trivia that we learned, that corals need sunlight. So if you
so they won't go as much deeper or as
where sunlight doesn't reach the ocean floor, they will not. So they have plant cells, right? So they need sunlight. So they will not go beyond that depth. And they were explaining what corals they were and what are dead, which are live corals, and so many colors, right? So I think for the elderly and for the kids, this yacht ride is really recommended, so that you can see corals on your own, even if you can't go on snorkeling. And all our Indian rides, they really give you that finale finish, right? And which no one would expect. So after the corals are done and lots of geography or science has been explained, you just need to also tell them that you're on a vacation, right? So they really crank the speed up, and it goes up and go deep into the sea, and they curve it up all around the water, and then and splashing water all over the place, and then the wind coming onto your face. So you don't forget that you're not here for a National Geographic vacation. You're on for a normal vacation. So so you come back. We didn't have champagne on the deck. You can have muri, chanachur, and you can have aam and kola, but you can't have kind of champagne. So you
just
came
reminding you that you are on part 2 of Bengal.
Yes. And so I mean, apart from that, I think they have lots of other activities, like those inflated boats of dinosaurs and dragons and dolphins, which kids can sit, and there's a fast boat that pulls you. So initially we thought that we will just be pulled slowly and there'll be a small ride, we'll come back. Suddenly this boat is so fast and water is coming onto our eyes, and we just literally have to hold on to that inflatable boat, and including our 3-year-old. So it was good. Yeah. In the and the jet ski, oh my god, it is so rash. I think how they drive, but I mean, for the adventure thrill, if someone is seeking that, I think the jet ski is absolutely recommended. I mean, those
I love jet skiing. It's great fun.
Yeah. So I think Elephant Beach is very, very well organized, that you buy all your tickets before, and if you can't complete your rides, you get back, and then you can refund your money for the ride. Yeah. So it's not that the money is gone. So it's extremely well organized. They sign the coupons and they take you for the requisite amount of time they promise. So I think extremely professional, no extra money being taken from you. You don't get that feeling that you're being cheated, and things are very professional that way and very open and clear. So the second day, I think the activities and the snorkeling and the highlight of it was really, really good.
Nice.
Talking about Elephant Beach, me and my friends, we went together. So we also went for kayaking there at around 3 or 4 a.m. Right before sunrise. We would go, like our group would set out for kayaking. And when you're doing it, right, you would go through these, like the water, you can see it becomes bioluminescent, okay? And
wow.
It's so magical. I can't even explain it in words, like how beautiful it looks. Like you're there in the middle of water, right? When you can actually see the bioluminescent water. And slowly, while you're doing it, you can also see the sunrise. And then and then you can slowly see the corals and everything comes into your view. And that is just so magical. Like, just, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's just so wow. I just can't ever forget that experience I had.
Yeah, my God, seeing bioluminescent itself is like one big tick mark. Yeah, 100% मुझे भी करना है. Godly. Praloy, मुझे एक बात बताओ. ऐसे when we go to Goa, you have all these agents who will be coming on the beach. ना मुझसे do this activity with me. मेरे से banana boat करो, मेरे से paragliding करो. एक में 100 रुपए होगा, एक में 120 होगा, एक में ऐसा वाला scene नहीं होता है क्या in Andaman? Or rather in your Havelock Islands? Not like that. It's like one person.
Yeah. So I think they have gone ahead in the curve of giving you that centralized one window experience versus the so many different vendors who actually help you in your journey. So there are multiple cabs who take you from the beach to your hotel and pick up and drop from the ferry and everything, but you don't realize that they are from different vendors. And even in that activities, right, you buy from one shop and you are known by your boat. So an unique identifier is your boat. And so that you don't get lost, and for that boat is tagged to the vendors you have purchased your tickets from for the activities, and that vendor is tagged to the people who are actually doing the activity. So you get that seamless experience, which is like the style of those corporates, but it's done so naturally by them that you don't need to figure out which is the shop, who is doing the activities. And the boat owner, right, the ferry owner, he's actually the guide for you. So he takes you to the places where you have to get the ticket, and they give you locker rooms to change. Snorkeling kit is available, and you don't have to run around, and there's people who will explain to you, and you pay at one place, you get your refund at one place, right? And absolutely, I mean,
that's so very impressive, because even I mean, I've done snorkeling and all in Thailand, Bali and all that. ऐसे कभी नहीं हुआ है. This is very different. I've never seen it in anywhere else.
It is very, very seamless in that way. And the boat owner, as I said, is like, he gets everything done for you. You don't have to do running around. And those in this Bangalore technology parlance, right, where we know databases, single identifier, this and all the best practices of the corporate are being used by them. So it's lovely to know that.
Wow. And did you talk to everyone in Bengali?
We didn't even try talking in any other language. I mean, it was by default.
I'm snorkeling Corbo, and then you went snorkeling. Wow.
Yeah. So I think my elder one, Bojo, he struggled because he was talking in English.
He's a Bangalorean. Come on.
And they were taking him as a foreign tourist. Thank God.
He has the accent as well.
He has the accent as well.
So, yeah.
No, not that we were. That is the reason of going to Andaman, but that's also a convenience that you don't need to
I did not know about this, that there are so many Bengalis in.
The reason for that is this, because there's a structural settling of refugees which led to this. Plus, Andaman administratively, from a court's perspective, everything was managed by Bengal. So there's a lot of.
Lovely. So, Godly, did you also have a similar experience of meeting a lot of Bengalis?
Yeah, everybody knew Bengali, and I wasn't expecting. I heard the story once I reached there, but it was like completely shocking. Because usually when you go down south, no, you're scared of like how you will interact with the people know Hindi and all. I was sure about the Hindi part and all, but then when I landed there, I saw that everybody knows Bengali there. Like, and my formal Bengali is really bad, but then I feel like everybody is talking in Bengali, so I thought, okay, maybe I should just get comfortable.
But there are many surprises in life, right? Like a Tamilian speaking fluent Bengali and not knowing Tamil. So there are many people like that. Do you know one?
People, subtle but not so subtle message. He's totally referring to me. I used to write letters, in Bengali to my, friends' ke parents and things. So I have done that level of Bengali. I used to love Bengali so much. I used to write letters to them. I have the benefit when I'm out with my friends and all that. Anyway, ये कुछ भी टॉपिक में चला गया है हमारा. Back to अपना Andaman's chit chat. Hey Praloy, what about scuba?
Scuba happens in many places. But Elephant Beach is just the place where you only do activities. No one stays there. There's no hotel. Everyone comes back. Yeah.
Because you said you खाना नहीं बन सकता है वहाँ पे also.
Yeah. And then you have a slot and everything is so well managed that you just get to stay there for 3 hours. So if you reach there at 10, you have to leave by 1. The boat will come back. So you are known by your boat, because otherwise they can't manage the crowd, right? Yeah. Because literally everyone in Havelock goes to Elephant Beach, right? Because because if people stay there for very long, it'll be too crowded. So that's why they have crowd managed it, is my understanding.
Got it. So I just love snorkeling. So I just need a reason to find one of these beaches to then head out snorkeling. And I kind of snorkel almost the entire day, like 4-5 ghante din mein I'll be in the water snorkeling, looking for corals or fishes and things like that. So what about the snorkeling scene then?
So there is a perimeter that they have defined in every beach that you can't go beyond that perimeter.
Really nice, yeah. This Elephant Beach sounds like very, very interesting. So was your resort beach also as fancy as this Elephant Beach kinds?
In our resort, I think when we went for a morning stroll, we thought that it will be sunny and it will be uncomfortable. But you can actually sit on those long horizontal branches, right? Those bent over branches. And it's very not shady, covered with a lot of shade.
चलेगा तो बीवी के साथ हो यार, shady हरकतें कर सकते हो.
So yes, it's in the shade, so you can sit there for hours together. So that's the best part, right? I mean, and people just can't cross over. It's really like a private beach feeling because people don't walk that much, right? It's not too crowded, at least on the resort side. So you can sit under the tree just and you can. But the only one rule that they have is that you cannot carry the corals back. So what they believe is all the corals of Andaman need to stay in Andaman because corals grow on dead corals. So you'll be caught in the airport if you're carrying corals.
Very good. I'm proud of them.
I mean, they have some way to find out, but they don't allow you to take the corals. And for that calcium of the corals, right? All the beaches are white. All the beaches are white. So that's the reason. And even my son used to tell that it feels like cement, right? Because it's really soft and white. So
how beautiful, feels like cement, my God. This actually is white sand. How cute. Wow. So this was this morning thing that you were saying is which beach?
This is just a resort attached beach, right? So this doesn't have a name. It's for a morning stroll, yes. So we went to Kalapathar on the first day. Kalapathar actually is a proper beach where not too many people and you can spend some time there and it's beautiful.
It's absolutely very rocky, no?
Yeah. I mean, the water is good and there's a small part where you can get in water, but not too deep. Yes, actually, some part of it is rocky. The place to go and swim is Radhanagar beach. So on the third day, we went to this, and Radhanagar, it's on the northeast side.
Before that, how do you go between these beaches? Like between Kalapathar, Elephant, Radhanagar? How do you commute between?
Yeah, So
Okay.
they pick you up from the hotel, and they don't just be with you. So it's like a very efficient system of shuttle. So it's an island, right? So they ferry other passengers. They will not wait for you. So let's say if you're in Radhanagar beach for 3.5 hours, that car doesn't wait for you. It will again go back with some people, and then some other car will come with you
Lovely.
for you. So they have very efficient system because it's an island. It cannot be too far, and so this is why they keep on shuttling. And you don't have to wait. You just call them that we are reaching. Some cab will be called for, and they'll tell you.
Very
take
nice.
you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Radhanagar beach was third day, which is where when we reached, right, and you can actually feel why it is voted the best beach in Asia. So it is almost like a huge semicircle and completely green till the edge of the sea, like till the edge of the sea. And the part which is carved out where people go, and there's proper restrooms, changing rooms, lockers, benches, all of those wooden beds, right? And those huge mohawk trees. I don't know if they're called. It was written mohawk trees, which have a very tall
mohawk hairstyle.
Yeah, so very tall trunk of the tree, and then a little bit of vegetation at the top. So I think those are extremely beautiful, and the beach is very flat, and that's why it is so famous. And then you can go in almost up to I think 80 to 100 meters, and there's a perimeter, and waves are very manageable, but they're good fun to play with. So we actually had spent about 3.5 hours to 4 hours there, and the sun sets early. Actually, Andaman is matches up with the Arunachal kind of longitude, right? So this it is really ahead of the Indian time. So everything is finished or done by 5:15, right? Even in the summers. So I think that's the best time to go. So in Radhanagar beach, I think with so many people, but so well managed, and absolutely no trash on the beach, absolutely zero, nothing. And it was unbelievable to see, right? It's a virtuous or a vicious cycle, right? If you keep the beach clean, everyone keeps it clean. Because as we believe in statistics, right, that 90% of the people are fence sitters. They tend to follow. So only 10% are the ones, nahi, ganda karunga. So that is where very less. So it's very clean, right? And all professionally managed, right? And extremely good places to take a picture, because you have those lush green forests, and you have this emerald green sea, and then this white sand. Just sit there and take.
तुमको kahona प्यार है करना ही चाहिए था, Praloy यार.
No, actually, the kahona pyar hai dance or short, like the best one. I think it's to do with that Neil Island, that second island we went to. Now, so Radhanagar beach is where you take a swim and spend time with the kids. It's actually that beach fun types. Yeah, where
Do you have cafes there and all that? Like
yes, you can get anything there. I mean, you can get beach dresses and floral dresses and sand toys, and so it's not on the beach, it's on the approach road. So they don't
get it.
Yeah, so you can have whatever food you want to eat. So everything is there.
And this is the magical sunset wala beach, right? Radhanagar beach is where you can actually see the sunset.
Yes. Right? It's a sunset beach. So yes, I mean, Havelock is recommended for 3 nights, because then you can leisurely see all these 3 places, and also spend some time in your resort beach. Yeah, and there's one more restaurant I would recommend. Right. It's called Something Different. It's the best restaurant in Havelock. It actually is on the beach. You can. It's like a industrial shack kind of a thing. Huge restaurant, and it's very classy. You get all the good food and any kind of stuff that you want to eat, seafood to North Indian to Mediterranean to anything. Yeah, anything, and all the best alcohol, beer, anything. Yes.
Lovely. You can just sit there and lounge for a few hours and all that.
Yeah. Yes.
And when I see seafood, I'm like, oh, will I get anything vegetarian? Will I get anything vegetarian?
Anything. Yeah. You can have paneer do pyaza as well.
Maybe Mediterranean in a vacation.
Because you should never forget that you are in India, right? Just looking at the white sandy beaches and clean beaches without the lace packet.
अबे
You might,
झालमुड़ी मिल रहा है ना तुमको बस.
so but you tend to forget that actually you're in India because it's so clean beaches. But yes, you don't have to worry about food. Actually, Andaman, that's a very good thing that you get everything. I mean, from medicine shops to even in Neil Island, right? It's a small island, you have all the facilities. Yes.
Wow. So all of these things were, that's how you pronounce it?
Havelock, yes.
Havelock Island.
Again, all these are British names, right?
Right. So how long does the boat ride from Port Blair to Havelock take usually?
2 hours, 15 minutes.
Okay. My God, you and your precise timings. Around 2 hours बोल सकते हो ना?
All ferries have online tickets. You can buy the ticket online.
Okay.
You have those large windows and very comfortable seats, and you have a small cafeteria and good music, big TVs, like and glass all around. So I think those are much better.
My God, your parents and kids must have had a ball. Of course, you evidently you had a great time. But I'm sure they must have had like a great experience.
Yes. Right? I mean, ferries are fantastic.
So how did you go from, so this was between Port Blair and Havelock. What about the one to Neil and Ross Island and things like that?
Yeah, so it's recommended to land in Port Blair and directly go to Havelock the same day. Okay. So the last ferry is at 2:30. So try to reach before 12 and reach Havelock the same day.
Okay.
Yeah, so the fourth day, we took a ferry to Neil Island. It's a morning ferry at 9:30. Neil Island is...
Bag and baggage you packed from Havelock and leave.
All those 15 luggages we packed. and ferry is very convenient. Yeah. And you put your luggage in a line, they load it. I mean, you don't have to actually pull. I mean, you're in India, right? So service is free. So yeah, and then you board the ferry and you have your own seat. So yes, it's a morning ferry, and then you reach in 1.5 hours or 1 hour 15 minutes. I mean, it's not much. It's a close.
Neil Island.
Neil Island.
Okay. Tell us about Neil Island.
So Neil Island is a small island, and it is famous for. There are two things to see, right? Majorly, there's a Bharatpur beach, and all of these are. So we have Radhanagar beach, we have Lakshmanpur beach, we have Bharatpur beach, and there's a Sita beach also in Neil. So Neil is covered with
I'm loving the names of these beaches because we don't have such names in other beaches. Baga Beach, Mobor, yes, all these kind of.
So
names
because they have been renamed, right? So Havelock and Neil Island have also been renamed, right? Swaraj Deep for Havelock and Shahid Deep for Neil Island.
Awesome.
So Neil Island, there are two things. One is there is this huge stretch of land, dead corals, black hard corals, and you walk on them, and then you go to a place where there's a natural bridge formation. So there's almost a 25 feet kind of height, and there's a rock formation here, and then it joins to the main hill part of it. It's a natural bridge formed out of the sea. And you walk on that dead corals. It's a little pricky, and you have to have good shoes for that. And then when you go to that place, right, this water, and you can see a lot of those sea creatures trapped. So we saw some sea spiders, and then and starfishes and seahorse. Yes, they're alive because they get trapped in that water and one more important thing is not wave. Actually, forgot to tell. You have to visit that dead coral patch of land between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. because that's where it's a low tide. Because if you go at any other time, you can't cross it because it's water. It's like proper water.
So pretty! Wow.
So you can only go there at that time. You can't go before or after. So and even
that means if you go like before or after, पूरा चीज पानी के अंदर रहेगा.
It will not be visible at all. Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing. कितना heighted आता है यार. Lovely. हाँ ठीक है. Then tell me, how do you reach this? You walk on the
cab. Neil Island again. Pick up drop. So the car takes you to that spot. There are about 100 steps you have to cross one like a high part of the island, then come down to the beach, and then go down. So it's a little painful on the knees and on the feet. But yeah, I mean for the coral enthusiast and the sea creature enthusiast, and the fact that something is under the sea which is visible only for a couple of hours, right?
Very unique experience.
Very, very unique experience.
Yeah, and you saw seahorse and all that. I don't think I've seen a seahorse inside the water. I mean, I've seen an aquarium, maybe not like actual.
It depends on your luck what gets trapped.
True. That's true. But how nice.
So I mean, you see it, and then it gets washed away as well.
Correct.
It gets washed away because a huge wave comes, but it's extremely rocky and slippery, so you have to be careful.
Do the your whatever agency guys, do they tell you that you wear good shoes? Because I invariably, if I'm on beach, I'll wear those flip-flops and walk around.
Everyone does that, and everyone senses a business opportunity, right? So all the shoes get torn. So when you come back, there are 3-4 chappal shops.
चालू लोग हैं यार, पहले बोल देते ना, नहीं बोलेंगे.
So
but this is very, very good tip.
We also bought a chappal, right? It's everyone will, if you go in.
So अच्छे चप्पल पहन के जाओ, मोटे चप्पल पहन के जाओ.
Shoes, I think those really good.
Won't it get wet?
No, there is no water. No, there is no water. No, there is no.
No, like when you climb the steps and see and all, you no water.
No water. Only when you go to the edge of those rocks. But it's not recommended because it's slippery. But yeah, I mean, those woodland shoes are should be kept ideally for that. So that Neil Island is just a one-day trip, right? So you go to Bharatpur beach after lunch. So then you go to this natural rock formation, low tide, and then immediately half an hour before sunset, you quickly reach to the topmost tip of that island. And the direction it points is where the sunset happens. Okay. And there's water from two sides which is coming and colliding, and this two cross waves coming, and they are mixing like this. Such a beautiful and absolutely clear, transparent and bluish greenish water, and there's a sunset in front of you.
My God, this is like so magical.
And those mohawk trees in the background, and they have made places to sit over there, and you can find huge corals, like blocks of corals there, which are lying all around. Like, so this is where actually that the Kahuna Pyar Hai point, where the tip of the island with white sand beaches.
Very unromantic, Praloy. Very unromantic.
And the best part of these beaches, right? They're very flat, right? So you can really walk up a little bit further, and I mean quite a lot, but still you will not be like underwater. So it's good.
You guys must have had some god level pictures in this trip, right? You know, with all this amazing scenery and all that.
Yeah, the best thing about the pictures was the color of the water. I think I can still remember them every day, and I think it's not that we were looking good in those pictures. I think the water color really added to that overall shot. Yeah.
Send some pictures of all this, trip that you've been to, this Neil Island, this lovely corals now that you're telling me about. So we actually put in a blog for every podcast episode that we release. The blog is called Sneaky Footprint, where we share all this itinerary that you've just told, these photographs that you'll be sharing and all of that. So do send in your pictures to us. I love to put it in the blog. So tell me more about this Neil Island place though.
So in Neil Island, we stayed in this little fancy hotel called Seashell Samshara. It's quite a difficult thing to say. Seashells Shamshara. Yes.
They try to do that itself.
It's a very fancy hotel with a very fancy swimming pool, and
lovely.
Yeah, and the rooms and all are very much in the theme of Andaman. Fancy restaurant also there. Overtly expensive, but I mean, yes, just one day, so you don't bother much.
Do you have to stay in Neil Island, or can you do like
one night? One night.
You have to, like, suppose someone wants a day trip.
You can. I haven't checked the last ferry, but I don't think there will be a ferry back after sunset, because nothing.
Sunset, correct.
Yeah, but if you have missed,
sunset is recommended.
Yes.
Very pretty, very pretty.
Then the next day you go back to Port Blair.
When will you do Ross Island then?
So the same day. So Ross Island is an interesting story. Ross Island is a small, tiny island, which is about not very far. It takes about 25 minutes in a ferry. So Ross Island, the first island which was inhabited by the Britishers, right? And they came here. They set up a jail and everything, and they wanted to make this the Paris of the East. So apart from the jail and their inmates who were tortured and everything made to work. For themselves, they made fancy tennis courts, huge bungalows, right? Proper and like big churches, right? And then there is community area. There's this shopping area, this officers' canteen, like
Wow.
and the head of the Britishers in that part, his bungalow was a huge bungalow. So all of that, and the view is amazing, and the bungalow is at the top of this, like a hill, right? It's the top of the island. You can have like a 360-degree view of the sea. And one part, so that island, so that was again completely bombed by the Japanese. So they took over the island for about 3-4 years in World War II. So 42 to 45, and then it got liberated by the British again. But there's a lot of history to that island, that the Britishers came, then they had to leave because of lots of diseases. Then they came back again. They again made it up really nice. And then Japanese bombed them. Then the Japanese occupied it for 3 years. And then they again got it liberated, and finally it got independent, right? So now no one lives in Ross Island. It is one part of the island has been taken over by the Navy. That is where they have kept the flag of the Andaman Command, and which is Andaman Command is a combination of Air Force, Navy, and the armed forces.
Okay.
So they have kept that plaque and the flag there. And so there are about 200 steps to go down and climb up to that place. And there's a huge bridge, like a wooden bridge they have made to the point, right? And it juts out of the island where the flag is kept, and all that. And when you go there, you actually get a 270-degree view of the sea. And it is so amazing because you have rocky side of the water, and then you have Ross Island in the background, and then there's an open sea. And then you have that Indian flag in front of you.
And does water like come on top of that patch of whatever that
no, it's at a height. It's at a height.
It's at a height. Okay.
Yes, it's at a height. Yeah, and you have to go up and then come down, right? Okay. So there are electric cars which move you around Ross Island. You have to pay a fee, of course.
Right.
Not very expensive, but there are electric cars, like golf trolleys.
Beautiful, man. They've thought about this so well. Like it's a true tourist.
And they have touched up all the monuments that were bombed. They have kept the ruins of it properly, like the bungalow, the church, and it will actually look like a bombed city, right? And then they have put all the pictures there of people playing tennis and then enjoying their drink.
Yeah, it's not that like long back, right?
And then there are huge ballrooms there for their evening parties. And the British really enjoyed themselves. They wanted to make it the Paris of the East. And then they have painted one of the walls white. So they did this they did this light and sound show there. So it's also recommended. So you finish that, and when it's evening, you come back in the ferry. So Ross Island has extremely important significance from a historical standpoint, because that's where the Britishers came, where the revolution began, and Japanese and this and that. And they had all fancy stuff up there. But yeah, now it is, again, no one lives there. It's just for historical.
So who gives you a guided tour of Ross Island? Do you get audio guides, or like how do you get all the stories that you said? You have to read all those things that are put up across every place, or you have a proper guide?
So there are three ways actually. The golf cart guide tells you a little bit, and then there are extensive material written, right? So you can read and see those pictures, and the maximum information you get by attending the light and sound show.
Oh, that's very nice, yaar. Actually, अच्छा बनाया है कि
huge speakers and all surround sound and tick, and awesome music composed by Shankar Ehsaan and Loy. Plus the very, very good narration and content written by Gulzar in the Ross Island Light and Sound.
Lovely.
And Indian national anthem being played, and it's all fancy. It's really good.
Patriotic feeling.
No, that is Cellular Jail Light and Sound. So that is patriotic to a different level.
Oh, sab ekdam kick-ass, jhakass, sab
so it has a view of, let's say, a Vagator beach of Goa, where you can see the sea from an elevation.
From elevation,
but it is at least 3x that elevation.
Oh, itna uncha hota hai ye. Oh, Vagator itself is like you have to climb some maybe 100 steps or something like that to go.
So it's a huge elevation.
Beautiful. Wow. Lovely. Okay. Tell me now. So we are done with all the beautiful islands of Andaman. Now Your last stop was Port Blair.
Yeah, so on Port Blair, so on the day we came from Neil Island, right, and then we went to Ross Island. So that day was my elder son Bojo's birthday, so we had to cut a cake and everything. So Port Blair is a capital, right? So you get everything. So we got a cake, and the hotel guys were really nice to give us the restaurant. So he's just very excited that there is a cake cutting in an island on a vacations, and in that too we have visited two islands in the same day, Neil and Ross. So we had all cake party, and we had pizzas and all of that in the night. So I think it was the best birthday gift for him.
High
Amazing.
point of his all his birthdays.
Yes. So that was the nice one. And then the last day in Port Blair, we went to this wood factory. So this was pre-independence. This was set up by the British. So this is a very, very old wood factory. It was bombed by the Japanese and all of that. So it has all and it has a very interesting place within the factory. It has a huge crater. And then there's a place where you can walk up the stairs and see the crater. That is where
Bomb kira tha.
So the Britishers bombed the Japanese, and so that is a British bomb crater. So they've preserved that crater.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So there is a museum as well. So all museum, factory, artifacts, buying, all of that. But don't overkill your time there. I think maximum 2.5 hours in the morning is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in the morning we went to Cellular Jail, right? So Cellular
that
Jail.
was in the morning. I was thinking you're going in the evening. Okay.
No, so morning we went to Cellular Jail. So we took a guide. You have to take a guide. And it told us about what atrocities, pain they inflicted upon and who all came, who all stayed for. And then when we went to Veer Savarkar's cell, right? And then what kind of life they had. So it was kind of a structure in which you have these buildings from a central point. So you have like a central cylindrical building, and you have these 7 lines coming out of that center point.
Understand.
So all are surrounding it, right?
Okay.
So it's like the radius of a circle, 7 radius and 1 center point. And they used to disconnect this central building from the 7 so that people cannot come out. Right?
Okay.
So that was a structure, but only 2 are left. Rest have been bombed, or maybe they are not maintained, so they're not there.
Whatever.
And one of them has been converted into Andaman's biggest hospital. So so Cellular Jail part.
Itna bada hai ki one of those radius things has become the biggest hospital. Wow.
So that is there.
Massive jail.
Massive jail. But now they've preserved the space, and they've refurbished all the color and bricks and everything, so that people can visit.
Does it make you feel very depressed when you go through the jail?
Yeah, so they have preserved those places where they had to take out oil from the coconuts with those machines, and when they were half fed, and they were also treated not so well, right? So all of those stories, yes, it does. But again, I mean, at the end of it, they were let go, right, after a point of time. So I think so it's all. And we visited Veer Savarkar sale, and one highlight of that visit was the Veer Savarkar movie was getting shot, so we saw Randeep Hooda.
Selfie liya ki nahi?
And guards were telling, don't stand here, he'll start shouting. I don't know.
So he has some
star attitude, no? But anyway, we saw him. He has lost so much of weight just because he wants to do that Veer Savarkar movie, right? So then in the afternoon, we quickly covered that boat ride in the beach. It's not very recommended. If you have time, you can go, because beaches and activities are not like Port Blair thing. You do all the historical stuff, museums, and this and that. And then we went to Cellular Jail.
This Cellular Jail visit is for that evening light and sound show, is it?
Cellular Jail is so well managed. You reach exactly at 6:30, and then there is no congestion, right? And you have parking for all the vehicles, and then you walk, and there is a line that forms, and you have pre-booked tickets. You have the tickets are equal to the number of seats. That's a very important condition.
I know.
So then you stand in that line. It opens exactly at 6:30, and then you get in, take your seat, and it starts immediately. The light and sound show, right? It charts out the prisoners, their background. So it is more to do what happened in the jail, about the people who stayed in that jail, about the atrocities, right? So it's all about that. But Ross Island is more interesting in the sense it's a very checkered history of how settlers came in, how they beautified that island, and then it again was deserted, and then again they came back, and it was again taken by another enemy nation. So it is more checkered and more significant, I would say, in terms of historical facts. But again, the cellular jail is more important for us as Indians, because it is where so many of our freedom fighters stayed, and they were subjected to all that pain. And this light and sound show, right? Someone has invested heavily in that, because this has better lasers and better light and speakers and everything. But in Ross Island, so that's it. And then that was
beautiful, man. Lovely vacation tha tumhara ye wala to. Beautiful, very nice.
Pralay, tell me something. I think our listeners would like to know about how you plan the entire trip, like first day here, second day here, and maybe the third day doing this over there. So
it was a 6 nights and 7 days itinerary in Andaman. So we landed in Port Blair around afternoon, and then we immediately had to go to the ferry to take the Havelock ferry. It is very important that you take the earliest ferry possible so that you can spend some time after reaching Havelock. So we took the 12:30 p.m. ferry, and we reached there in about 2 hours time. The sun sets early, so we went for a short trip to Kalapathar beach. So that was the first day. The second day, we had to leave for Elephant Beach in the morning.
So this was the day jo full of activities wala bhara day tha.
Yes.
Nice.
So that's about for the second day in Havelock. And the third day, we started our day a little late. In the morning, we spent our time in our resort beach, and then around 11, we left for Radhanagar beach. So it's a drive for about half an hour to 40 minutes. It takes you through the middle of the forest, which they have cleared. Radhanagar beach is the best beach to take a swim and enjoy the waters. And when it gets dark, you start again. You come back to the hotel. And that's how we spend 3 days in Havelock.
Oh, lovely. Phir uske baad?
Yeah, so the fourth day, we took a ferry to Neil Island. We took the earliest ferry at 9 a.m. to Neil Island. And
this was the fourth day, right?
Yeah. And we went to the Bharatpur beach around 3 o'clock. It's the low tide time, so there wasn't much water. And then we went to the hanging bridge. Only for those 2 hours you can go to that hanging bridge and cross those corals, because the water recedes. And you spend about an hour and a half there, and then you start by 4:30 to reach the Lakshmanpur beach, which is the tip of the island, to see the sunset. And the next day we start a little late, so we take a ferry the next morning to Port Blair, and then you reach Port Blair and check into the hotel, have your lunch, and then head on to Ross Island. Spend the late afternoon and evening there in Ross Island. So you can move around the island, go to the point where there is a memorial for our soldiers, and then come back. When it gets dark, the show starts. And then after the show ends, you have to quickly come back and join the ferry, and it gets you back to Port Blair. So that day is done. The next day morning, we start again. We went to the Wooden Museum. Then we went to the cellular jail, which is the guided tour. So the cellular jail will not let you enter after 12:30 p.m. So we have to reach there before 12:30. And then we headed to a beach, which is towards the north side. So you may choose to skip it, or you might have a quick boat ride there.
Yeah.
And then reach and join the light and sound show line by 6:30 p.m. And after the show ends, you come back and your day is done, and the next morning you fly out.
Wonderful. What was your daily food scene like wahan pe throughout the entire trip?
So ideally, you should have your dinner in the same hotel, because there's nothing much to do after 6 o'clock anywhere,
after
right?
It gets dark.
Yeah, but there are really good restaurants all over Andaman. So the lunch should definitely be one of those restaurants.
Okay.
And something different is definitely recommended in Havelock.
Okay. We'll put that in our show notes.
Very importantly, Andaman the costs are very reasonable. You don't get a feeling that you're
going to ask you, so how expensive? The flights are expensive. Uske alawa, like when you
plane tickets are superbly expensive, but apart from that, food, right? You will not spend on an average more than 500 to 600 rupees per person per meal. Unless you're drinking expensive,
like a regular meal.
Regular meals, and choose your hotels, and that really depends. So I think even if you're staying on those 4-star plus resorts, right, the cost is very, very reasonable. So all the resorts are on the beach. They have very fancy restaurants in front of them, and just a single road, right? So you can't get lost, or it's difficult to reach. There's no problem of navigation and anywhere. So you can choose. I mean, you can choose a Tila Siru if you're in the upper middle class, but Tila Siru is a really fancy resort, right? If you're not taking Taj and ITC, but this is probably the next best one. Okay. But we stayed in Ocean Treat. It was equally good. Ocean Treat is like about 200 square feet of the room, right? It's a huge one, and then you have no common walls. Like you have 2 cottages facing each other. Wow, and it's very, very reasonable, and it has a swimming pool and it has a beach. But you should definitely stay on that road to Kalapathar, because if you're on Radhanagar then beach, then you get cut off from all the restaurants that you want to check out.
So whichever resort you're staying has a private beach. I mean, not private, but has a good access to a beach where you
private beach. People don't walk up to that beaches because I mean the trees are so close, right, to the sea, that you actually have to navigate around the tree and come. So it actually becomes very peaceful.
Yeah, I think they have realized that probably tourism is there.
So all of that. So they tell you that to hurry up in the airport so that you catch the earliest ferry to Havelock. So they give you those small tips everywhere.
Very, very beautiful. Hey, I'm loving it. मुझे सच्ची में जाना है. That too, एक तो मुझे एकदम mega water baby. So all the more description of the way you said about Elephant Beach and all that, तो मैं तो wow हो गई हूँ. And
so it is a combination. So it is a very happening trip. You can spend 15 days, 30 days also, because there are so many islands and so much to see, right?
Yep. Just the best mix. Anything else, Praloy, you'd like to add?
So this one thing I already mentioned, but I want to repeat, is that a morning stroll in the resort beach is absolutely not to be missed.
Okay. Romantic or peaceful?
Peaceful.
Okay.
Because there's just no one, and then you have shady places and with lots of shade, and then you have corals, and you can just sit there you can just hours and hours together.
Oh, you can have a do nothing day by chilling over in such.
That's why I'm saying that you can have one day extra in Havelock.
Wow, Praloy. I want to ask you one more thing. So in your style of travel, if you have a do nothing day, what do you usually do in that do nothing? Or do you like that kind of style of traveling?
Yes, I do. I think one of the do nothings is more to do with mountains. I think where in the mountains you have those hazy mornings, chilly mornings, right? And you go for a small trek. I think those and there's a little bit of I still remember the small trek you and I went in that Chikmagalur trip, right?
Yeah.
So I think those kind of is really a do nothing for me. Not absolutely sitting at home. I don't like to sit at home, but at least do small things and quiet things.
Leisurely walk around, stroll around, like that.
And on a beach, maybe, playing with my kids with sand toys and all of that, the little bit, it's a de-stressing thing. Yeah. Because in our busy days, it's very less time we have when we talk to ourselves. And I've been trying in many ways to do meditation. It doesn't happen because the mind is so chanchal. But I think it and in fact that reminds me, right, in the deepest part of the snorkeling, you have so much of calm around you because you just don't hear anything because your ear is blocked and you just see those fishes coming and no sound, right? No sound, and you can't see anyone, you can't feel anyone. There's no sound. It just changes your state of mind. Amazing. For those 2-3 minutes, it felt so nice. So
I
nice.
highly recommend you try scuba at some point.
Hmm.
That's also one place where you will be like,
Hmm.
no noise, like nil, absolutely nil. Like even the waves ka awaaz nahi aata because you're under the water. It is just, you will love it. Beautiful Pralay. मुझको बहुत मजा आया पूरा ये सुन के. मतलब मुझे ऐसे सच्ची में feeling.
You tell that to
all kinds of feelings.
every interviewee.
No, every interview में अलग reaction होता है. It's always fun to listen to anyone's travel stories. या तो I had so much fun. तो मैं बोलना it's not झूठ. It is very very such. But यहाँ मैं I have not experienced any of these things in Andaman, so I really would want to go.
जैसे टॉप गन मैवरिक में बोलते हैं ना, it's not the plane, it's the pilot. So it's not the place, it's the person who's telling.
Yeah, it's a person telling. बहुत ही मजा आया बात करके. Even though I tell that to most people, but I really had fun. So thank you.
The pleasure is mine. Right.
Bye, Praloy. See ya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Praloy. So for the amazing itinerary that Praloy had, the hotels where he stayed in, the restaurants that he recommends, and many other tidbits from Andaman, you can find it in our blog, Sneaky Footprints. So quickly after this podcast, head to our blog where you will find all the details and links. The link to the blog is in our show notes below. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So in case you're still wondering, we are Misadventures of a Sneaker, a travel podcast where our sneakers take you everywhere, from breathtaking landscapes to quirky roadside attractions.
Yo, do follow our Instagram page, Misadventures of a Sneaker. You know, we put lots of things there. Recommendations, photographs, stories, experiences, and a lot more. And you can also drop us a DM there with a lot of your suggestions, places that you want our sneakers to take you next, and lots more.
All details are in our show notes. And do not forget to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We'd be thrilled to see you on our next adventure.
You mean misadventure?
Sorry. Yeah, hope to see you on our next misadventure.
Our sneakers will take you on the next misadventure. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.